brand new online community of practice to launch officially on August the 15th, but by virtue of your participation in today's event, you are a part of a select group who will have access to the community in advance of that national launch. Well, we've already conducted sound checks this afternoon, so we're going to move right on into today's session. I want to let you know that we will be recording today's session, so anything that you say audibly using your microphone will be a part of that recording. As well, anything that you chat in the chat window will also be visible during the recording. So I am going to start the recording now, and we'll officially begin the first of a series of virtual open houses.
Recording started. Recording started.
Welcome to this virtual open house tour of Epic Ed, Empowering Digital Transition. Epic Ed is an online community of practice funded by the United States Department of Education and being built by the Friday Institute for Educational Innovation, the Digital Learning Collaborative of the Friday Institute, and COSIN, the Consortium of School Networking. Our project team includes myself, my talented colleagues, Dr. Lisa Herby, Miss Jacqueline Bell, and Hillary Lamont, who is now unfortunately leaving COSIN to go on to other things. We'll miss her dearly, but Hillary has been involved with us in building the Epic Ed community. So in terms of our session this afternoon, we want to accomplish two things in a short amount of time. The first is to explore the Epic Ed community site. And you'll want to note this URL. I'll ask that you do not share that URL at this point in time with others, because this is only available to folks participating in today's event and other invited guests. That URL you see is beta.epiced.org. And on August the 15th, the day of the national launch, that will become epiced.org. So for now, beta.epiced.org. We're going to explore that site together. And before we leave this afternoon, we'll learn how to update your profile and participate in the community. Just a reminder, in terms of interactivity today, if you would like to ask a question audibly, you notice the talk button there. You'll click on that button, begin talking, and then click it again to relinquish the microphone. I'll ask that you raise your hand using the icon above the participants block to request the microphone at that point in time. Alternately, if you don't have a microphone or you'd rather provide your question via the chat window, you notice that chat window there in the interface. You can type comments and ask questions through that space at any time during this afternoon session. We're going to ask now, if you would, double-click on the pen icon you see in the whiteboard tools, and that displays for you options, one of which is the strength, or the stroke rather, of the pen. We'll ask you to choose maybe a size 10, and then if you want to choose a different color, we'd like for you to indicate where you're located in the United States today. So if you would, at this time, go ahead and choose the stroke size 10 and then a color if you like, and situate yourself on the map. I'll give you just a few seconds to do that. Okay, so we've got not a large group of participants today, but we are spread out. Someone from Arizona, Julia's with us from Gilbert, Arizona. Chris Hall from Gastonia, North Carolina. Our good friend Lisa Hervey on the team, who is with us here in Raleigh, North Carolina, but is at a different location today. Again, the Epic Ed community is under the umbrella of the Connectors Educators project funded by the Department of Education. Our development team includes representatives from the Digital Learning Collaborative here at the Friday Institute for Educational Innovation at North Carolina State University, and COSN, the Consortium of School Networking. The Epic Ed community is based on a researched framework for planning that comes out of the work of the Digital Learning Collaborative and a big project here, the North Carolina Learning Technologies Initiative. And this framework is a researched approach to working with schools and districts who are moving through the digital transition process. It includes the 4 phases that you see there that we'll explore later, and consolidates from amongst the resources and events on the Epic Ed site, special live events, national experts, guiding resources, and best practices. The target audiences for the Epic Ed community, in truth, are K-12 education, but in particular, we're looking at teachers, administrators, instructional technology facilitators, and chief technology officers. So in just a moment, we're going to explore the website. I'm going to share my desktop with you as I take you through the beta site. As a reminder, you see here the opportunity for you to raise your hand to ask a question if you want to ask a question audibly with a microphone, or to chat in the chat window. So before we go on, I'm going to give you the opportunity. Does anyone have a question at this point in time, or a comment? Okay, so if not, at this point in time, I'm going to begin the process to share my desktop screen with you, and we're going to visit the homepage of the beta site for Epic Ed. So if you would give us a smiley face to indicate that you are now seeing the homepage for Epic Ed. Just want to make sure that that has shown up on everyone's desktop. Okay, getting a smiley face there. Remember, the smiley face icon appears at the top of the participants block. So it looks like everybody is seeing that there. Okay. We're going to go ahead and begin our tour this afternoon. As you arrive at the homepage of Epic Ed, you'll notice prominently featured at the top that cycle that you saw earlier that we refer to as the digital transition cycle. And we give it this name because we want to support schools, districts, and in fact individuals as well who are going through digital transition. And that could mean any number of things. That can look very differently depending upon your context. In general, the idea is supporting individuals and entities that are moving to what we have traditionally referred to as one-to-one computing or ubiquitous computing. We are calling it here digital transition. We've chosen this framework because we know from practice that this is a very thoughtful approach to making this happen in schools and districts. We also are using this to aggregate the various resources and events that are part of the Epic Ed community. Now you'll notice if you position your cursor on top of one of those phases, you get a description of that phase as well as the direction to then click on that phase, and from there you're taken to another part of our community where you get a little more insight into that particular phase. And as you scroll down the page, you then can access all of the resources, the events, and discussions that have been tagged for that particular phase. So imagine, if you will, you are a new community member in the Epic Ed community, and your school is moving toward one-to-one computing. Chances are you are at the vision stage or maybe even pre-vision. So isn't it nice to be able to come to one place and to see a lot of resources of a variety of content types, everything from websites to resource documents, upcoming live events, archived events, as well as current discussions related to that particular phase in the cycle. You'll notice as well, if you position your cursor on top of resources, you can see those 4 phases. And if you click on resources itself, you'll then see a consolidation of all of the resources available through Epic Ed, as well as some resources that aren't tagged specifically for a particular phase in the digital transition cycle. Back on the home page of the site, scrolling down the page, you'll notice here the opportunity to participate in Epic discussions. We have one conversation here that's gathered some attention, posted by Lisa Hervey, entitled "Learning is Fun," in which Lisa references an article. And we want to be able to identify some leaders around the country via the discussion forum and the resources. So you'll notice you have the opportunity here to rate a posting if you are a community member, as well as to comment on a posting. Back on the home page and adjacent to the discussions are the news and updates section of the site. And this is a place where we're featuring not only news and updates about the Epic Ed community, but news and updates in general related to education and in particular digital transition. We also will be featuring on Epic Ed not only events related to digital transition, but we want to collaborate with other online communities of practice and give you insight into what's happening in those communities that would be relevant to your work. So you'll notice here one particular example on the 27th of this month, the Online Learning Institute to be held at the ISTE conference in San Diego next week. You can also view all of the events as you see here, as well as all of the discussions by clicking on the appropriate buttons underneath. One feature that we are soon to release is one that we're very excited about, and this is our school and district profile locator, where we give you the opportunity to get on the map by providing some information about where your district is toward digital transition, and then immediately that information is combined with data, NCES data, to drop a pin on a map of the United States, allowing you the opportunity to share your successes and challenges with the world, while at the same time being able to identify other districts from around the country who are similar to yours and make some of those important connections as you do this important work that is, as we all know, ongoing. To continue out and finish the home page here, we'll have a featured contributors section with articles, blog entries from members of the community, but also leaders in the United States in terms of education technology and digital transition. And finally, partner highlights, which bring to the forefront special events and opportunities coming from other partners under the umbrella of the Connected Educators Project, as well as other online communities. So before we go behind the scenes as a registered user, I want to pause and see if there are any questions or comments. Okay, I'm going to take that as everybody's good thus far. So I want to give you a sense of what happens now when you log into the Epic Ed community. If you haven't already created or you haven't been sent a username and password, the upper right-hand corner link, Login Register, is the place where you can create your new account. Otherwise, if you have received that information, you can log in from this space. So I'm going to log in not as myself, but as our friend Epic Tester. And upon login, you'll notice a couple of differences in what you see as an authenticated user. The first is in the top right-hand corner, you'll see your name, your login name, adjacent to the sign out button. And from here, by clicking on your username, you can access your profile where you get a sense of your recent activity, and you can see membership in any groups if you're a part of a group on the community. We'd ask that as soon as you enter the community, that you click on the Edit My Profile link. That brings you to this part of the site where you can change your password, and we encourage you to do so. And further down the page, the opportunity to upload a photo of yourself. One of our goals in the EPIC-Ed community is to create a community where people do make those connections with others. And a proven technique for doing so is the ability to know something more about the individual, and part of that is to be able to associate an image with that individual. You'll notice also in the profile a place for you to provide some personal information in addition to basic information, things like areas of interest, professional affiliations, and a general About Me section. And then finally, we would encourage you to participate in a research study that's taking place on the EPIC-Ed community by indicating as such, clicking in the I am interested in participating block and then the save button at the bottom. This research will involve some online surveys, perhaps an interview, and some focus groups. And the survey should take no more than 10 minutes to complete. So we would ask that you would help us to improve the experience of online communities by participating in that research. Now, if we return back to the main navigation menu, as I mentioned, you'll notice a difference there when you've logged into the site. You'll see, first of all, this Members button here that allows you to access the Members section of the site and connect with other users who are part of the EPIC-Ed community, as well as the Groups section. At this point in the development of EPIC-Ed, most of the groups you see depicted here are private groups, and that means they have been established for small cohorts who are working on particular projects. But we anticipate as the community grows, opening up other groups, and you can easily join those groups. I'd like to tell you in particular about one group that we'll be forming, and that's the EPIC-Ed National Cohort Program. This is a group who is going to have a really concentrated focus on digital transition. And folks, we would encourage to join that group via their leadership teams, i.e. having a team either from the school or the district who throughout the year can participate in live events, in discussions, to share resources and ideas, and to connect with others who are currently in this year going through that process. So that will be a group that will be open to participation by anyone who's joined the EPIC-Ed community. So want to finish out our session this afternoon by showing you a couple of more resources on the site. The first is the About section here, where you can get more information about EPIC-Ed in general. In particular, under the heading, What Does EPIC-Ed Offer Me? This is a nice place to revisit following today's session to get a summary of the different types of resources and functionality available through the EPIC-Ed site. And then finally, this last button here, Support, will take you to a support form. If you have any technical issues or questions with the site, you can communicate that information to us here at EPIC-Ed, and we'll respond to you with the appropriate information to get you on target and integrated into the community. So, in a nutshell, this is where we're starting with EPIC-Ed community, and we're excited for you to be with us today. I'm going to leave the site and return back to our presentation slides here and remind you that you can begin to follow EPIC-Ed through our Twitter feed if you use Twitter. And Also encourage you here to note the current URL for the site, beta.epiced.org. And then the last thing here is our call to action for new community members. Just to restate some of the requests and suggestions made earlier in this session, we want you to create your personalized EpicEd profile when you come to the site by clicking on your username in the top right-hand corner and then clicking on the Edit My Profile link under the image. We'd like for you to explore the site and to rate the resources there. We'd love for you to contribute and share a resource in the resources section as well as in the discussion forum. We want you to participate in and create discussions, and we certainly need your feedback in terms of anything that's not working correctly on the site or any ideas and suggestions you have for increasing engagement within the EpicEd community. So that brings me to the end of the tour this afternoon, and I want to now pause again to see if there are any questions or comments. Okay, Jonathan, sure thing. The question was, can we display the Twitter feed? So if you search for us on EpicEd Community, if you just look for EpicEd, you're going to get someone whose name happens to be Ed, and that's not us. So better to do a search on EpicEd Community. Thanks for that question, Jonathan. Any other questions or comments this afternoon? If not, we want to thank everyone for participating this afternoon. We hope that you, if you haven't already done so, will join the EpicEd community and complete your profile and begin interacting with members of the community. I will tell you at this point in time, we've got close to 1,000 folks who are in the site. So we're excited about where the community is going to be when we have the national launch on August the 15th. So we would ask that in the interim, you share with other colleagues. The main site is epiced.org. And in fact, we've got some time very quickly. I'll just bring that up for you and give you a sense of what's going on there. If you visit epiced.org, you'll just see here a page that kind of announces what's happening. And over the next few days, we're going to be adding additional information to this page to give those folks who land upon this site, or this page rather, more information about EpicEd, including a video, a flyer about EpicEd, and as you see here, the opportunity to get information about the upcoming open houses on August the 15th. We'll also make available here the link to the school and district profile so that you can get your school and district on the map. Got a question here from Julia. Julia says, if she signs up on the beta site, will it be transferred to the main site when it becomes live? Yes, indeed, Julia, that's a great question. So automatically on the 15th of August, you won't notice a difference. If you try to go to beta, it should direct you to epiced.org. Yeah, that's a great question, so we appreciate that question this afternoon. Any other questions or comments? If not, folks, I want to thank you again for being a part of this afternoon session, and we look forward to epic experiences with you in the EpicEd community. Thank you and have a good afternoon.
Recording